If you think buying a business is too expensive, too complicated, too risky, you're playing on hard mode. But here's the good news. I've got 7 cheat codes to make business buying faster, easier, safer, and way less risky. The cheat code that changed everything for me is number 7. But don't skip 1 to 6. Miss just one and you could end up buying the wrong business or never buying one at all. Right now, there's never been a better time to buy a business. Opportunities are everywhere. Thousands of businesses are up for grabs. But here's the thing, the best ones, you'll never see them listed online. And here's the crazy part. If you know what you're doing, you can buy a business that pays for itself. Sounds impossible? I made it happen when I bought a £1 million fitted furniture business. But here's the thing, I knew nothing about fitted furniture. And here's the even crazier part, the business had a factory. I'd never run a factory before in my life, yet I still made it work. And so can you. So why are so many businesses for sale? Is it the economy crashing? Are businesses failing? No, not even close. It's simple. Baby boomers born between 1946 and 1964 are retiring and they're selling their businesses. Not just any businesses, good businesses, profitable businesses. Let's go. Cheat code number 1, fix your approach and mindset. I start here because if your mindset isn't right, nothing else really matters. Most people think the only way to be an entrepreneur is to start a business, and that's a myth. In reality, buying a business is faster, easier, and safer than starting one from scratch. But right now, maybe you're thinking, I don't have enough money. I don't have the right skills. I don't have enough experience. And if that's what's running through your head, guess what? You're probably right. You have imposter syndrome. Everyone has it. We're all imposters until we become the thing we want to be. That's what an imposter is. Someone pretending to be something they are not. So instead of fighting it, accept it. Okay, I'm an imposter. Now what? The answer, reps, skills, experience. Because here's the real secret. You already have the skills. You're already part of the management team, running someone else's business. You make decisions, solve problems, and manage people. The only difference? Right now, you're making someone else rich. The solution? More reps. The reason you feel like an imposter isn't because you lack skills, it's because you haven't had enough reps buying a business yet. So stop pretending and start building the skills to become the person you want to be, a £1 million business owner. Once you accept this truth, everything gets mentally easier. Your only job now is to do more reps and build the skills faster. That's exactly what I did when I bought my business. And if mindset has been your biggest hurdle, this is how you overcome it. Now, let's talk tactics, because for the rest of this video, I'm going to give you 6 more tactical business buying cheat codes. So you can do more reps, build those skills faster, and make business buying easier. Cheat code number 2, start meeting sellers. Most people overthink. They study, they research, they read books, they watch videos for months, for years. And you know what? They never take action. But you already know this. You've seen it in the corporate world. People who stay stuck in analysis mode and never make a move. The same thing happens when buying a business. When I met my first business owner, I was nervous. I worried they'd see right through me. that they'd realise I'd never bought a business before. I felt like an imposter. But do you know what? It never came up. And you know why? Because I made the meeting all about them, their story, their business, and what mattered to them. But here's the truth. You won't learn how to buy a business until you start talking to real sellers. Why? Because real experience beats theory. It pushes you out of your comfort zone. Doing is learning. Failing is learning. You get better at asking the right questions. And as a leader, you already know this. You've closed deals. You've built relationships. And you've negotiated. Now, you're just applying those same skills, but in a different game. So here's your challenge. This month, meet 5 sellers, call business brokers, message owners, visit local businesses. Even if you don't have the money, even if you don't know how to finance the deal, just start. Because 99% of people who think about buying a business never do it. You didn't get to where you are by overthinking. Be the 1% who takes action. And remember Einstein's words, the only source of knowledge is experience. Cheat code number 3. Build rapport with sellers. Do sellers always choose the highest offer? Well, not necessarily. They sell to people they trust, people they like. And I know this best from a seller's perspective. Because when I sold my accounting practice, I wasn't just looking for the highest offer. I wanted someone who would care about my clients, my staff, and everything I had built. But please take a moment to guess. What do you think made me happiest when I sold my business? And let me give you a clue. It wasn't the price I sold it for. It was something far more important than that. It was when I discovered that one of my employees was made partner in the company that had bought my business. And that's when I knew I had found the right buyer. Because selling a business isn't just about the money, it's about what happens next. That's how much it matters to sellers. When I met the right buyer, I just knew. It felt like we were speaking the same language. Because that's what real rapport is about. And here's the craziest part. Because I focused on finding the right person, the whole transaction closed in just 6 weeks. But then, here's the cherry on top. For the buyer, I sold my business and they didn't pay me all at once. They paid me over 3 years. And by the way, this is what's known as seller financing. The buyer got the business without needing all the cash up front. I got my exit while ensuring a smooth transition. But why did I let him pay me over 3 years? Because I trusted him. And that's the real lesson here. Trust builds better deals. Think about that for a moment. You could be the boss of your own business in less than 2 months. That's how fast this can happen when you know what you're doing. And as a leader, you already know this. You've built trust with employees, with suppliers, and with customers. And the same rules apply here. If you build genuine rapport, your chances of getting a great deal are way higher. So, how do you do it? Well, you make it all about the seller. Ask open-ended questions. Listen more than you talk. You already do this in leadership. Now do it with sellers. Understand their needs, their concerns, and what really matters to them. Be honest, be transparent. You know how important trust is in business. Sellers appreciate authenticity, no BS. Find common ground, family, business experiences, and shared values. Show that you care. Make it clear you want to preserve what they've built. Because here's the thing, A seller who trusts you is more likely to offer better terms. They might even finance part or all of the deal for you too. And as you've climbed the ranks in upper management, you already have this skill. You don't need to learn it, you just need to use it. And in the words of Dale Carnegie, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get people interested in you. You know how to lead, now use it to build trust. Build real rapport and sellers will want to do business with you. That's how you position yourself as the right buyer. That's how you gain their trust. And that's how you secure better deals. It's not about having the money, it's about having the relationship. Because when a seller believes in you and trusts you to take care of their business, the right opportunities come to you. Cheat code number 4. Avoid buying the wrong business. Not all businesses are worth buying, but then you already know this. Your experience in the corporate world has shown you some businesses are gold mines and some a disaster waiting to happen, or worse, a disaster already happening. The key is knowing how to spot the difference before it's too late. The best way I can explain this is with a real world example. When I was looking for a business to buy, I came across a kitchen extractor cleaning business for sale. On the surface, everything looked great, but here's the thing. When I did the due diligence, which by the way, I did myself and a skill I teach in my course, I uncovered a huge problem, a cash flow problem. Yes, the business was profitable, but those profits weren't turning into actual cash. And here's where it got even worse. They owed HMRC thousands in PAYE and VAT, going back months. In fact, I was shocked HMRC hadn't already shut them down. That's why due diligence is everything. And here's the really annoying part. I had already negotiated to buy this business using seller financing. So when the deal fell through, I was gutted. But here's what's even crazier. The business was on the market for £450,000. But because I felt I could fix its cash flow issues, my final offer was just £50,000. The sellers refused. They thought their business was still worth more, even with those financial problems. So I walked away. And honestly, it was the best decision I could have made. Now, while I don't recommend buying a struggling business, sometimes it can work, but only, and I mean only if you know what you're doing. And in this case, the risk was too high. That's why understanding how to do proper due diligence is so important. The wrong business, it will drain your time and money faster than you can fix it. So here's what to avoid when buying a business. Owner-dependent businesses. If the business is likely to fall apart the moment the owner leaves, that's a bad deal. Because you're not buying a business, you're buying a job. A strong business should run without the owner. It should have systems. It should have a capable team. It should generate profit without you being in the trenches. And if it can't do that, walk away. Dying industries like high street travel agencies, traditional taxi services, and high street fashion retailers steer clear. A dying industry means shrinking demand, tougher competition, and a risky investment. One major client. If losing one customer puts everything at risk, walk away. Consistently losing money. A turnaround sounds great until you're the one burning cash. But instead, look for a business that's already set up for success. And that's one with over £1 million in sales. A business at scale is easier to optimize than one struggling to survive. A business that has multiple customers. A business with diverse revenue streams means less risk. A profitable business and not a sinking ship. Something you can actually grow. And a business in a stable or growing market. Find industries with long-term demand and not fading trends. And finally, that has employees who can run it without you. You're a director. You know the value of a strong team. You need a business that works without you being in the weeds. You've seen bad deals in the corporate world. Don't make the same mistake when buying your own business. And in the words of Warren Buffett, it's far better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price than a fair company at a wonderful price. So make smart moves. Cheat code number 5. Stop overthinking and start negotiating. Most people hesitate. They wait. They overthink. They want the perfect deal. But in business, you already know, perfect doesn't exist. Here's the secret. Just start negotiating. Why? Because if you structure the deal correctly, believe it or not, the risk is often lower than buying a car. More about that in a moment. For example, negotiate a deal where the seller gets paid from future profits. That way, your personal risk stays low. When I walked into my first real negotiation for £1 million business, I was nervous. And no wonder, this was the owner of a civil engineering business turning over £2 million a year. The closest I'd ever been to civil engineering was driving past roadworks and watching the machines lay tarmac. I had zero experience in the industry. But here's what I learned. You don't need to be an expert in the business to buy it. But this didn't stop me feeling like a complete imposter. This business was for sale for £850,000. And by the way, I didn't have £850,000. So when you hear what I tell you in cheat code number 7, this will all make sense. But here's what happened. I negotiated him down to £500,000. And even better, he agreed to seller financing. He agreed to be paid over 5 years. That's the power of smart negotiation. And in this case, the business wasn't just profitable, it had strong cash flow too. That's what made this deal work. But unfortunately, this deal didn't happen. Why? Because the deposit was coming from financing the business's assets. Things like accounts receivable and equipment. But I took too long to organise it. And while I was sorting out the finance, another buyer came along. They offered more money and more importantly, they offered cash up front. So the deal fell through. So what's the lesson here? Don't overthink and don't procrastinate. But here's something else you need to know. When you buy through brokers, you're not the only one looking. And that means competition. The longer you take, the higher the risk of another buyer swooping in and taking your deal. Just like what happened to me. I learned this the hard way. So once you've found the right deal, move fast and close the deal. Business buying is a skill. And like every skill you've mastered in leadership, you get better through practice. So start. Smart deals don't wait. You know how to lead. Now use it to negotiate. Negotiate your way to becoming your own boss and own your £1 million business. It's not about having the money, it's about having the strategy. And when you know how to structure the right deal, it's closer than you think. Cheat code number 6. Become 1% better each time. Buying your first business will feel overwhelming. That's normal. But think back when you first stepped into leadership, your first big deal, your first major negotiation, your first time managing a team. It was likely overwhelming then too, and yet you mastered it. The secret: improve one skill each time. Each time you look at a deal. Each time you speak to a seller. Each time you negotiate terms. Get better at reading financials, being more creative with financing. Learn how to value businesses. Sharpen your negotiation skills. Ask better, smarter questions. Because here's the mistake most people make. They try to learn everything before taking action. But as an executive, you know real learning happens in the field, through experience. But let me tell you something. I kissed a lot of frogs. I looked at so many businesses, I lost count. But here's the point. I learned something every single time, and I built my business buying muscle. I developed a sixth sense just by putting in the reps. When I looked at financials, something clicked. When I spoke to brokers, I knew what to ask. When I met business owners, I could spot the real opportunities. And you will too, if you keep taking action. The more businesses you look at, the better you get. It's all about getting the reps in. That's why I created my course, to teach you the skills you actually need. But the real key: small, steady improvements. And in the words of Tony Robbins, the path to success is taking massive, determined action. So take action. Start now. And finally, cheat code number 7. Start thinking big. The biggest mindset shift I had to make, I had to stop thinking small and start thinking big. My biggest limiting belief: I never thought I could buy £1 million business. I thought I couldn't afford one. This was even though I was already managing director of a care business. At the outset of my business buying journey, I still believed I could only afford what I could personally pay for. That was completely wrong. Here's the real cheat code. You don't buy a business with your own money or from what you can afford. You buy a business with the money the business makes and what the business can afford. That includes using seller financing, where the seller gets paid over time from the business's profits. Now that might sound strange, but think about it from your position as a company director. You'd never commit to something your business couldn't afford, right? Same rules apply here. If the business can afford the repayments, then it's a smart deal. And once I realized this, everything changed. What really helped me was when I developed my own buying a business software. At the time, it was just a simple spreadsheet template, but now it's a fully functional Excel-based tool designed to help you work out how to finance a business. And the best part, it aligns perfectly with my course on buying a business. So it's easy to put what you've learned into action. So all you need to do now is to start thinking big. Start thinking like a business owner, because that's how you win. That's how you go from working for someone else to buying your own business, becoming your own boss, and setting yourself on the path to financial freedom. And here's the key. It's not just about mindset. It's about knowing the cheat codes, because when you have the right strategy, the right skills, and the right deals, owning £1 million business isn't a dream, it's a process. So in summary, the business buying dilemma: if you're in upper management, you know how to make decisions. You do it every day. Yet, when it comes to buying a business, even experienced leaders often get stuck. Why? They overthink, they hesitate, they wait for the perfect moment, because it's a whole new game and the rules are different. You face this choice: keep waiting and doing nothing, or jump in and start gaining experience. Most people, they play business buying on hard mode because they never start. But your first deal, that will change everything. These 7 cheat codes will make buying a business faster, safer, and easier. And if this helped you, please drop a comment below. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to buying a business? And if you want me to go deeper on deal structure, business financials, negotiations, seller financing, or whatever is holding you back, let me know.